Usually on the right side, there's a ribbon selector, this little lever here, and that determines where the keys hit the ribbon. So this is set on the top here because this is a two-tone ribbon, and that means these keys will actually hit the black part of the ribbon. If I put it down on the bottom, they'll hit the red part of the ribbon. Typewriters before the early 50s generally could not set tabs from the front. This one can. You can position it and press a set key and then press the tab key and it'll jump to that. Older typewriters like this one. Oh, by the way, every typewriter has a unique attachment to its case. This one, you just have to kind of figure it out. This one has two little pivots and a latch. Okay.
Ooh.
And then along the back here, actually, you can't even do tabs on this typewriter. Sometimes there are little things you can drop in on this sliding gear that'll set where the typewriter goes when you press the tab key. And some models, like Royals, took forever to figure out how to do it from the front. Keys on older typewriters will have weird names, like self-starter is kind of a tab key, but it jumps a little bit. Older typewriters have glass keys. These are glass over paper with little metal rims. And these are plastic keys. And plastic keys actually were available at least in the 40s. It's surprising how early they came in. Let's see. There will be a ribbon reverse key on newer typewriters. That's what this is, because when you get to the end of a ribbon, it will just stop on older typewriters. Sometimes there'll be a ribbon reverse, or you'll have to reach in and actually manually move something. Newer typewriters will have a little toggle here that looks for a brad that's driven into the ribbon itself toward the end, and the brad will catch the reverse and turn it, and then it'll start spooling the other way. But if you're typing and it gets really light, you're probably at you've spooled your way all the way to the end of the ribbon. Most of these typewriters don't have a number 1 key. I don't know why. You have to use lowercase l. That persisted up through the 60s. Most of them will have a carriage release that lets you free spin the carriage and enter or to insert the paper. Most will have some sort of line spacing. The more advanced ones will have this thing here, these little markings along the left edge, and that is a page gauge. And if you set the, if you load the paper the right way and keep an eye on the page gauge, it will tell you when you get within an inch or two of the end of the paper. I mean, we had to do this to type things and have it not, go off the end of the page. It was really an art to try to create a document on these. And it's why most typewritten documents don't have a page number down at the bottom, because there wasn't enough paper for the roller to hold on to it, so people tended to put the page number at the upper right. There'll be either a pull or a push button on the end of a lot of the carriages that let it free spin, and then wherever the carriage release happens to be, you can slide the carriage. Sometimes there are these little pop-up wings that'll help support the paper, like that. And there are margin settings that you push in and scoot sideways to determine where the carriage stops when you advance or retreat. Okay, American, Japanese, Swiss, and French. Hermes are great machines. They have tab sets and clears, and actually I don't remember what that button does. It may clear all the tabs. That may clear all the tabs. You have to experiment there. This is made in the late 50s, early 60s. Still doesn't have a number 1 key, but mechanically these are great. A very complicated ribbon set. Let's see if I can figure out how to open this one. Okay, we'll come back to this one. There we go. Pull it off the front. The more expensive the typewriter was, the more soundproofing it had inside. So this little felt level here. If you buy a typewriter and that's really moldy, then it was kept somewhere too moist, and it's probably going to be corroded inside. Sometimes you'll see a stain on typewriter keys that are all discolored brown in the middle. The guy who used it was a smoker. Sometimes on the case, particularly these old cloth cases, you'll see a darkened spot here, and that came from setting the typewriter in the case on the ground next to the exhaust pipe of the car. I love to see cases that are covered with travel stickers. I have some, cruises and train stickers. Let's see. Some portables have little devices to fold the carriage lever back so they don't get crushed. Olivetti's in particular had horrible cases. I don't know why. They really made well, but a lot of them didn't survive, the intervening half century because they were just beaten up in their case. They also didn't label keys. Who knows what that key does? You just have to experiment, figure it out. Okay, the Groma Calibri was, I think, the flattest typewriter ever made. There might be some other ones, but this is the typewriter from the movie The Lives of Others.
Das Leben des anderen. Das Leben des anderen.
Ach ja.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh,
Shad's German, but
yeah.
that's about all.
And they have the red ink. They're
do.
looking for that. And
God, what a great movie. Let's see.
the red ribbon.
The Robert Redford typewriter. I just showed you that one. I like Underwoods are really loud because I guess they have this huge cutout here so you can hear it, but they've held up really well. They were made all over the place. A lot of them were made in Canada. And I think this one of these will have to have, let's see, a way to set tabs. So you have to move these little things around. You have to pull these things out and move them and put them in here to show where the tabs go. So I can shove that back in there. And them out in the case. Sometimes there are little gaps that at the feet you can shove back in, and then the front feet drop over little posts. I mean, it just varies from machine to machine. There we go. One of the smallest typewriters made. I think Laura wanted that one. Works well, but the keys are kind of tightly spaced, so my fingers cramp when I use it. European typewriters. Here's a pound key next to a $sign key.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. They're all old. The carriage return spring is older than your grandmother. If you're going to use these and rely on them, you can't type on them like you would a computer. You have to type with a regular cadence, and maybe 2 or 3 key presses a second is about it. Try to make it a regular movement. If you just blast out a familiar word that you know, it's probably going to jam on you. And that's when you just pull these back. The number one caution, all the type bars are connected to this little hinge type basket here. Never lubricate it. There's no substance I've ever found that will unstick this once you get gunk in it. Can't be disassembled. Just take it down to a service station and blow it out with an air hose. And maybe you'll get 5 million words out of it like that little Olivetti could produce. And then when you pick it up, always carry it so if it flops open, it'll flop open next to your leg. Like that. When you take the typewriter out of the case, put the case on the floor because the top is so heavy. You'll hold it in your lap, you'll open it, and the whole thing will just flip over and fall on the floor. I'm telling you this because it's happened to me before. So I'll take any questions.
What's a good just day-to-day care that you can give your typewriter?
Typewriters like to be covered because the type basket fills up with dust. That's what has happened to most of the large-sized typewriters I have, and they just stop working eventually. So just keep it clean. And it was usually okay. If you drank black coffee, it was okay to spill it in a typewriter. Pop is terrible because it's sugary and collects dust. Or if you put cream in your coffee, that was bad too. But they're pretty rugged little machines. I mean, what other device for writing other than a pen could survive the length of time that these have? Here's a machine made in the 40s, and here we are in the 2025 still using a machine like this to write. It's just remarkable. There's a British newspaper, I don't know if it's The Guardian or what, but they've started piping the sound of typewriters through the newsroom to try to build up the intensity and encourage their writers to meet deadlines the way things used to be. I know that the Russians went back to using typewriters in at least the head office of the KGB for a while because they couldn't be hacked. And otherwise, the only people who use them are people like me. All right, I'm glad to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them out of the house. That leaves 90, you know. So.
Do you have a favorite brand or model that you like to work on
This one.
to write with? You like the Smith Coronas?
Smith Corona Sterlings
Okay.
were the best portables ever made. And they were advertised by Natalie Wood. That was her favorite typewriter. They came in a lot of different colors, sort of the apex of typewriter technology right before the IBM Selectric came out and killed everything.
And what year is this model?
These are 50s. Okay. I tried to write, not all these have little tags, 1950s, yeah. I have, not all these are in my book, but I would look up the serial numbers. There's a website, you can go look up the year it was made, and they're pretty old. I have a Japanese typewriter I should have brought just to show you. That's a cylinder that has a wheel, and you spin it. It has 1,500 characters on it, and I've had 4 Japanese exchange students and their teachers, and none of them have ever seen one before. So I guess it was not practical. You know, it was only in production for a short time. I have a Nazi typewriter that has the SIG rune of the SS over the 5 key. It's an Olympia. I suspect there's like a little cottage industry of people in Germany making those keys and putting them on different typewriters to try to raise the price on eBay. I did not bring an Oliver typewriter. They're the kind that H.G. Wells liked. And Oliver makes an appearance in the movie, I think it's First Men in the Moon with Lionel Jeffries. It's in Cherry Cottage in that movie. And they have typewriter bars that are circles that are different diameters, and they flip over this way. And the machine weighs about 50 pounds. And I mean, they're just hell for stout. They still work fine, but my son said, no, I'd like that one to stay here, so I didn't bring one.
It's great that your son wants some.
Yeah, they were a little concerned when I said I'm taking some typewriters. I have 90 that you guys can choose from. You haven't shown any real interest, you know, in them up until now.
Well, they didn't have to. They were there forever.
They were there forever, yeah.
Well, it's like when I moved and gave up some sewing machines, people were horrified. And I say, I still have 10.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
You learn how to use a machine and fall in love with it, and you just hate to see it go. And it offended me that people were cutting off keys like this and selling them for jewelry on eBay. That's what got me into this.
Oh my
I
lord.
just decided I would save some typewriters.
Oh.
It's funny you talked about that.
Yeah.
And then I was making jewelry for an event and realized that in one of my big Ziploc bags of miscellaneous stuff
You
people
had a
have
bunch of
given me,
typewriter keys.
I have a bunch of typewriter
Now,
keys.
there are a bunch of dead typewriters. I don't mind if someone
Yeah.
gets more use, but the eBay guys they'll
Buy a
dismember an
cheap
old
typewriter,
one, and then
yeah.
they'll take a cheap new one like this, and they'll cut the keys off it. I'm gonna put those keys on the old one, which is a lot of work, and then they'll jack up the price on the old one, and they'll repaint it some color you couldn't buy. And that's why I started collecting them. I don't really collect them anymore. My wife's put the kibosh on it. I don't blame her. For years, I'd have big boxes show up on the front porch, and she just learned not to ask questions about what they were.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be cheaper than collecting guns.
Probably, but not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
And it has, let's see,
And you called this what? Industrial strength what?
it's just a support for the type bars, but it's where the little pad rests. Let's see, you've got an intensity lever. That's what that other lever was. I couldn't remember it. This is how hard the type bars hit the platen. And if you can keep it in low, your platen will last a lot longer. This looks like it's in good shape, actually.
It works really well.
A lot of them were sold as student machines, these machines, but they've just held up remarkably well for how old they are and the pounding that a lot of them got. It has a #1 key. Wow. Okay. We've got a divide symbol and a multiply. Man.
I actually wrote several school papers on this when I was in a junior college. I refused to use Microsoft Word, and,
Oh, yeah.
and they took them.
I guess to reverse the ribbon, you just manually do that. That'll cause it to start spooling the other direction. Yeah, there's There might be a lever somewhere, or if it gets light, you can just take this off and go and do that. Wow.
This got restored. Actually, I saved this paper.
Man, that's heavy.
The local place, Dyna Systems, they do repairs on industrial printers. And I brought this in, and they said, yeah, we'll do it. And they just turned it around a couple days ago and got it back to working order. So they can take care of your typewriters just right here in town on McNeil.
That's good
Yeah.
to know, 'cause
Yeah, they're a treasure if they can do that, because those guys are vanishing. Yeah, so there'll be all sorts of interesting little, here's some sort of tension gauge on the side. And, I don't know what that is. Is that a little roller right there? Used to be, well, the side panels were removable so that technicians could get into them to work on them. Well, that's just really cool. You can set and clear tabs from the front of the typewriter. And this is probably a 1930s machine, I guess. It took them a while to get fancy colors and setting tabs from the front. I like the crinkle finishes that they put on. When people try to repaint them on eBay or fix damage, you can tell because it's impossible to match that surface texture.
And what do you mean by crinkle finish?
It's a matte finish, and on some typewriters it's really pronounced. It's pretty, but they bake the paint in an oven before it's absolutely dry, and it gives it this unusual finish, as opposed to just a slick painted finish over
I never knew what that was called.
Yeah, we're surrounded by them. You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Never dull moment. I mean,
Never
at the
dull
end of the
moment
day,
here. We're
Never
just
a
like,
dull moment.
well, same thing here. My house, my warehouse, and my cat and my feral cat also good for money. And where's the exclamation point? No, it's over here.
Okay.
Oh.
I think you landed in a.
You need to see what I wrote. Is this claimed for England?
I don't know, baby.
Well, he said he'd be back with more if we need them.
And then, it was trying to figure out.
Thanks, like that.
Can I get arrested for fondling a platen?
No.
So, if somebody doesn't,
Permanent 3,000 reader wants. Okay.
if someone doesn't already want this one,
You want to try another one? No, that's the one that speaks to you.
that's the one. Although I do like this. This is classic, elegant. Okay. Ooh, that's a satisfying sound.
Baby.
she's distracted.
Take a look over here.
That needs to be. Okay, you've got to stop filming me.
Scott, my wife over there. Anna.
Those are Lisa's. Has she not shown you those before?
She's been at my house, but I don't know if you've gotten to play with them.
seen this.
Yeah. So that's the one I learned to type on as a kid. That's the
I
reason.
love it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And then this is the one I got in Japan right before we left at a
Oh,
resale
it's
shop.
so compact.
I love them.
That is wonderful.